Are you ready for pain? Are you ready for suffering? If the answer is yes, then you're ready.
This particular reaction from white folks will always be interesting to me. You all were the ones who invented capitalism. You used black bodies as collateral to borrow money from the banks. Capitalism sees everything as a money-making opportunity. It cares more about the individual than it does the group, the whole. And this is very true for white people and the way that they interact with the world as well. So it is very difficult for white people to maintain community that isn't based on white supremacy, because capitalism has taught you all that the individual is the only thing that matters. So for centuries, you prevented black people and people of color from being in your spaces because they weren't white. So what did black people do? We got used to that. We said, okay, no problem. We will make our own spaces. We will create our own community. And that's exactly what we did. But because white people have such an individualistic mentality, they both desire to have community while rejecting community. It's the same way whenever some crime, terroristic act is committed by a white person. It's always lone wolf, lone wolf. So you all rejected the community that black folks wanted to have, while simultaneously being jealous of the community and camaraderie that black people have. And another aspect of this is that white people, because of white privilege and white supremacy, they live life on easy mode. So when you live life on easy mode, you seek out danger. You seek out hardships. And the slightest bit of pushback feels like oppression to you. So when black people see white people seeking out danger because it's fun, and we don't want to participate in that, you all get offended because we don't want to participate. We have literally created our own communities and spaces, and we don't need you around, and that hurts your feelings. So what you try to do is push your way into our spaces as culture vultures because we don't need you and want you around. But the funniest part about all this is that you created these circumstances yourself. Because of white supremacy and capitalism, you all have quite literally played yourself. We don't want to hang around you all because you are unsafe.
So I had to stop while I was watching TikToks while getting a freeze pop from the freezer. And you can't tell, but this is great lighting from my refrigerator. I should use it more often. I'm watching this TikTok of this woman be like, I am not cisgendered, not cis. And then she proceeds to describe exactly what being cisgendered is. And as someone who is actually cisgendered and part of the alphabet mafia, I want to be like, girl, it's okay. We don't mind you being cis. Like, they think it's an insult when really it just means that your gender identity matches the gender you're given it, or you were assigned at birth. So like, I am cisgendered because I identify as a woman and I have a vagina, but not all women have a vagina. And I'm just gonna enjoy the snowflakes getting upset.
I don't care.
Snap.
I don't care.
Okay.
I really don't give a fuck. I really don't.
Exactly. All right.
There's still a ton of debate out there about the trans period and the symptoms of PMS many of us experience once a month. There is a ton of correlation on how cis women experience them. It is well known by medical science that when a cis woman is about to have her period, her testosterone spikes while her estrogen drops. Normal testosterone for a cisgender woman is between 0.26 and 1.6 nanomoles per liter of blood. That can jump to an average of about 2.8 nanomoles per liter during her cycle. This is all from adrenal gland functionality. In a cis man, the change in testosterone levels has little to no effect. In both cis and trans women, that rise in testosterone can be huge. And when estrogen is dominant, that T-flux can cause these symptoms. Not all girls do, just like no. We just need to put this to bed and do what we're supposed to do in the community. Validate each other's experiences. You are valid just as I am, and we need to amplify each other's voices.
You know what's quite funny to me is that when black people do it, it's looting. When white people do it, it's conquering. You're saying to bring the looting to the suburbs? I'm pretty sure that y'all do that when y'all favorite team loses. Let's stop this revisionist history, shall we? Because while this looting is happening during a storm because people can't afford basic necessities and are freezing in their homes, in their cars, and on the street, this is the type of shit you gentrification gorillas was doing during protests for Black Lives Matter. And then we were getting blamed for it. And that shit was happening in Buffalo too. Y'all would go and loot, and then we was getting blamed for it. During the George Floyd protests, what do you need a mannequin for? The media likes to make it a race thing and pinpoint us because they know how you salt shakers get down. Anyway, it seems like you got a lot of time on your hands to spread hate. Yeah.
Let's talk about projection. I think the topic is quite apropos at the moment. Yeah, I'm not sure what that accent was either. Projection is a defense mechanism. Projection is when somebody takes their undesired feelings and emotions and places them back on you because that's easier than to deal with them or admit them. People tend to project subconsciously. If your core beliefs or your ideals aren't harming anyone, but somebody is still attacking you, that's their own insecurity talking. Take my videos on narcissism, for instance. I've had so many people reach out to me angry at what it is that I'm talking about. And it's not the topics that they're angry at. They're angry because they relate to the topics and they're not ready to admit the truth. Or the people who are still debating me, telling me that white privilege doesn't exist. What they say has far more to do with them and little to do with me.
So Putin is like the literal embodiment of toxic masculinity ruining the party again. And he has worked so hard to create this persona of being the manliest man. Between like photo shoots, fake candid press ups, and propaganda and that untouchable table. Like the man has spent literal decades trying to become the personification of manliness. Only to be shown up by a comedian who won a celebrity dancing competition in a pink silk shirt. To have the entire world adore and simp over the voice of a cartoon bear. You want manly, strong Russian bear? No, we prefer small bear who eat marmalade sandwiches.
Hey, are you a man who sends unsolicited dick pics or demands nudes from women on social media? Guess what? You can't say not all men. But that's not rape. You're still being a predator and harassing her.
I was discussing puberty blockers for trans children, right? And there was a parent who responded. She was like, not on my time. You better do that shit when you turn 18. Not on your time or not on your child's time? I mean, at the end of the day, your child is the one who's going to have to grow up being comfortable in their skin, right? And see, I think it goes even further than trans kids. I think we have a bigger issue with parenting. It is very common. Most mental health issues stem from a person's childhood and how they were raised by their parents and or not raised by their parents. And I think one of the biggest issues that people encounter when parenting is that a lot of y'all still having kids and y'all think that they're supposed to turn out and be who y'all want them to be. Child, first of all, most of y'all don't even know your damn self. So how you think you know who the next person's supposed to be, whether they're your child or not? Most of y'all children smarter than y'all anyway. But that is really selfish and self-serving. Y'all really out here having kids and wanting them to be this cookie cutter image of who y'all predict, who y'all think, or who y'all want them to be. Baby, I don't know if white Jesus told you, but you disappointing yourself. You is setting yourself up for a huge disappointment. Baby, I really want y'all to consider giving birth to people and actually allowing them to grow and become who they want to be. If they not causing no permanent damage to themselves or nobody else, then what is the big deal? As I told y'all before, puberty blockers is not permanent in any way, shape, or form. But even bigger than that, let your children be who they are for their pride.
Dear white people, before I point out y'all bullshit, let me just say, I am 10% white, so where do I collect my privilege? Nah, I'm kidding, I'm black as fuck. I bet if I looked like you, my life would be less difficult. If that 10% white in me would appear just a little bit, I bet white cops would put out a taser first instead of a gun. I bet Karen wouldn't be so quick to dial 911. And I bet I wouldn't get hunted down while going for a run. Dear white people, yes, we're still pissed the fuck off about Emmett Till's death. So stop telling us to forget about slavery because it happened years ago while we're still laying our people to rest due to white cops kneeling on our necks. Dear white people, no, I am not angry, I'm pissed the fuck off because who do you think you are? Why does everything always have to be about you? Of course your life matters, but right now black lives matters too. So dear white people, we're going to continue to burn shit up, raise our voices and fight back. If you don't see the lack of injustice against us black and brown people, then you are the problem.